Hi everybody, I'm Louis Amestoy with HS Game Time Live, and now we're here with Eric Paul Johnson to talk about the Big 8 League preview. Good to talk to you here. We're a little bit remiss in this, my fault, I'll take the blame for it, but it's still, we're early enough in the season, we can really get a good understanding of what's going on in this league. A couple surprises, I think, to open up in week 0, going into week 1. Huge games for the Big 8 right now. What do we know, what do we think about this league right now?
You know, it's definitely, still, I believe, overall the premier league in the Inland Empire, given the history and tradition of the schools. Sure, the Southwestern League caught up last year, had both finalists in the Inland Division, but, you look at Centennial and you look at Norco, and you got to expect both of them will be on top again in this league. Centennial, this offense should be, maybe the best it's been in quite some time. Michael Eubank at quarterback, the move to Barrington Collins from receiver to running back, and then 2 receivers, Larry Scott and Eric Finney. You basically have a group that has been playing since their freshman year all together again, so the chemistry is there. And defensively should be, much more improved. Deion Bass, the big move, going back to defensive back, his more comfortable position. Norco, they're the wild card just because we're going to see a brand new offense out of them, a spread offense. Coach Gerhardt was tired of defenses just stacking the line of scrimmage against them. So we're going to see things spread out, but it's still going to be an offense that's going to run the ball.
And with Colton, with the younger Gerhardt now, I mean, you've had bruising running back, bruising attacking running game. Now you have this spread offense. It's interesting how his kids are different, in their community. You have an offensive lineman, you have a running back, now you have a quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure heaped onto Colton right away. From everything it looks like, he's going to split time right now at quarterback. They're not going to, be out there throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game. You have to remember they do still have Kelsey Young at running back, Stanford-bound, runner who averaged about 11 yards a carry last season. So
one of the most exciting runners out there, right?
Yeah, and you think they play Crenshaw this week, and last year he had 12 carries for over 200 yards against Crenshaw, a very a state bowl team last year. So he's still the focal point of this offense. The big question for Norco is, can they improve that defense, which gave up over 30 points a game last year?
All right, let's talk about the rest of the league now. The team that we talked about Roosevelt, we talked about Santiago, Pauley, North. I mean, again, with 8 teams in this league, King is there as well. There's so many talented teams. It's like 4 teams go to the playoffs, but it's anybody's game at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure Norco, Centennial, those are 2 spots that are kind of locked up. After that, it's kind of a wild card. Roosevelt right now, a lot of people admit have an abundant amount of talent, but you also got to think they still have never won a playoff game. So that's a big question mark there. They did lose the trio of receivers. So, who steps in? They still want to throw the ball, but they got to have people who can catch the ball. So, that's going to be the big question mark for them. Santiago, we expect great improvement with Jeff Steinberg as the coach out there, but, their opening loss to Dana Hills, 49-20, that was a big eye-opener for them. The big question there is who's going to throw the ball for them. He played 3 quarterbacks. Michael Darr, Jr., the son of the late baseball player Mike Darr, transferred from Centennial. He looked like he had a great game, but Brandon Rogers, who transferred from Roosevelt, also had a pretty good game there. So, but again, another team that really has to improve defensively if it wants to get up there. I think a team most people overlook is King.
Right.
Given, a couple years ago, they were at the bottom of the league here. But Todd Hanley alone makes this a very dangerous team. And with some of the changes they made on offense, it's really going to take advantage of his, skill set. And Daniel Langdon, kind of the jack of all trades for King, is a difference maker. He's an all-league safety. He'll be the quarterback for that offense, and he's also one of the best kickers in that league. So I think that's kind of, a big factor for them and a big opening win for them over Ramona.
And then the other big kind of question mark, too, is North and how North is going to, with their changes in their coaching staff. This team historically has been one of the most talented teams we've ever seen, or programs we've ever seen, and they could be lethal if they get someone on the right track.
Right, and I think they also graduated probably the most seniors of any team in this league. So almost all their skill guys are gone, and a lot of their key defensive players are gone. But the addition of Mark Paredes coming back into the program to lead this team coaching, he is the man who led this program to its first great successes in '95 when Chris Claiborne was the star athlete there. So you got to think that this is a team that will get back to its winning ways. They missed the playoffs for the first time in over a decade last year. That doesn't sit well with North fans. So I think we'll definitely see a very talented team, just a very young team. The player to look out for right now, Marcus Ball, rated one of the top sophomores in the nation. So, and then there's still Corona out there. You know, a lot of good changes there that should get this team back, you know, towards the top tier of the league. Chris Claiborne coming in as the defensive coordinator, Sherwin Sanders taking over play calling, but they have one of the best players in the league in Devontae Wilson as a defensive end.
All
so,
right.
you know, you got to look for him to really step up and lead things here. And then, you know, Poly, the last team in the league right now, there's some talented players out there. They have a good duo of running backs, Ryan Salgado and Jerron Farmer, but as has been the case with Poly in the past couple of years, depth a big concern. They lost R.J. Ibarra, the star baseball player, decided not to play football this year. So a team that's really going to struggle to compete with some of those powerhouses. A team that can maybe compete for a half, but in second halves is where they lost a lot of games last year.
And then obviously Riverside Poly, another team in there as well.
Right.
Okay. So this is going to be a very interesting league. I'm looking forward to this one too. I mean, everybody is. I mean, it's this great thing about high school football is some of this parity that we have in there. All right, Eric, thanks so much for joining us. Up next, everybody, we'll have Coach Matt Logan from Centennial. He'll be talking with Matt Calkins here in a moment here on HS Game Time Live.